Mishnah 8. Now we get to the next generation. Yehuda ben Tabai and Shimon ben Shatach. So these are both going to be on judgment. Kibo Mechem. Yehuda ben Tabai says, Al tas atzmacha ka'orche hadayanim. Don't make yourself like an arranger of judgment. Don't make yourself into a lawyer. Ukashi ba'al hadin omdim lafanecha. And at the moment that the Baalei hadin, that the masters of judgment, the litigants are standing before you, yiyu keinecha kirshayim. Let them be like evil people in your eyes. Ukashniftarim milfanecha. And when they pass away from you, yihu beinecha kizachoyin. Let them be as if they're meritorious. Kishakibu aleichem, in that they have accepted upon themselves the din. Don't be a lawyer. What's the difference between a lawyer and a judge? A lawyer has no interest in justice. A lawyer is interested in victory. It's an adversarial system. If you want your person to win, if you knew that the other side had a better argument, are you interested in your guy winning, or are you interested in justice happening? That's my job as a lawyer, is to want it to come out one way. A judge isn't like that. A judge doesn't care. He's got no dog in that race. He doesn't care how it comes out. He just wants it to come out truthfully and properly and honestly and correctly and safely and wholesomely. And right, a judge wants justice done. He says, when you're making a decision, you're trying to decide on whether it's in business or shidduch or whatever it is. So, we said before, havi masunim b'din, be deliberate in judgment. Your job is, as a human being, is to choose. How do you make a choice? So then how do you do that? Right? You have to lay out, my job is not to be an advocate. I shouldn't have a position. Right? I don't care who wins, I just want what's proper to. I want the best choice to be made. People lie to themselves. The first way you lie to yourself is by having a position going into an argument. You don't get truth because you lie to yourself. You go in knowing how you want it to come out. That's a mistake. When you find yourself in a position that you have to make a judgment or a decision, you have to work very hard to make sure that you go into it not with a position, not with a side or that you're advocating. Again, if you're an advocate, go in as an advocate. But if your job is to judge, when you're one of those lawyers who's sitting as a temporary judge in a traffic court case or a small claims case, you can't go in as a lawyer. You need to make sure, clear your mind. I'm not gonna, right? I don't have a position. I just want truth and justice. Don't lie to yourself by having a position, right? So it's all tas concept. Don't turn yourself into, right? And you turn yourself into it. Most people, they create that in themselves, right? They lie to themselves. They decide in advance the way they want the decision to come out, and then they start rationalizing and creating the arguments and the positions necessary to make sure that when I make the decision, lo and behold, it came out the way I wanted it to come out, right? If you just want to do something, just do something. Don't call yourself a judge. But if you're trying to judge, if you're trying to make a decision, you gotta create in yourself objectivity. Ukashiyu Baalei hadin omdim lafanecha. And at the time that the masters, that the two sides that are arguing, the two arguments, right, the argumentors, I guess in this case, are before you, let them both be like Rishayim. Let them be evil. Let them be wrong. Meaning, be a cynic. Right? When they come to you and say, here's what it's going to be, it's difficult to be a judge when you're a sweet, innocent, ongoing yes man, and whatever the person tells you, you say, oh, that's so horrible. It's like, ask sharp, you want sharp, pointed questions. Right? It's a different approach. The judge generally isn't asking sharp, pointed questions from the bench. But assume that, that type of system. Ask questions. Compel them, right? You're an interrogator. Ukishneftarim milfanecha, once they leave you, having accepted the judgment, once a judgment has been, right, if they come in, they're the kind of guys who get dragged out of the court yelling at you and calling you names, that's a different thing. But pretend that's not our case. Our case is, they came and they laid out their case, and I assume that they each have their own point of view and a reason why they think they're right, and we've dug through and I've come to a decision, and I've given a decision, and they've accepted the decision, right? Or if you're making a decision, you made a choice, then treat them both as if they each have merit. It says, the first way people lie to themselves is they go into things with a bias. Right? I already know what I want it to be, and I arrange everything so it comes out the way I want. So if I can get away from that, one of the other mistakes people make is once they've made a decision, they become loyal to that decision and not loyal to truth. Right? How often do you have a person, you grow up your whole life, and if you end up at UCLA, then you know USC is evil. But if you had ended up at USC, then you would think that UCLA is evil. right? If you're a Ford guy, you hate Chevy. If you're an American car guy, then you can explain why Japanese cars are evil. People have a tendency that once you've made a choice, right? I went and picked my brand, right? I'm a Mac guy, or I'm an IBM guy, or I'm whatever it is that you are. The other side stinks, right? And again, if what you're seeking is truth, not to lie to yourself, don't go into it with a bias, and don't create a bias coming out of it by assuming that once you've made but it's a natural tendency that once you've made a choice, you become loyal to the choice instead of loyal to truth. Right? The biggest example we'll see later in the 5th parak is Yerovam ben Nevat, right? Who goes, he's the servant of Shlomo HaMelech, right? The wisest guy in the land. And he advises, when Shlomo dies, he advises Rehoboam, drop your taxes, make it easy, let's make it easy on the people while they get used to you. And Rehoboam says, nothing doing, I'm going to make it harder, because I'm as good as my dad ever was. And Yerovam ben Nevat goes with the rebels, he goes to the north, he splits off and makes his own country. He says, I'm done with Judea, we're Israel now. And he becomes so loyal to his own position, he becomes so loyal to his argument, that just because God has a sense of humor, he knows people are going to go to Jerusalem and serve in the temple and realize that that's the real king, and he's so afraid of having them see that he's wrong, he says, you can't go there anymore. We'll build our own altar. He builds his own golden calf. And just in case you didn't get the point, he makes 2 golden calves. We had the golden calf story already, but you become loyal. People become loyal to their own position, and they become they forget to be loyal to truth. They become loyal to their own point of view. So that's how you lie. This first Mishnah is how to lie to yourself, right? Or how not to lie to yourself. 1, don't go into it with a position. 2, be a cynic while you're analyzing the question. And 3, when a decision is made, don't cement yourself into the decision by arguing that the side that was rejected is evil. They're meritorious. You come into court, and the 2 of you want a choice. And your kids both come to you and say, here's what it is. Make the decision. If they all accept it, then everybody's good.